Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about more black towns and cities that were created into man-made lakes, all right? People were saying I should talk about it more, so we are going to talk about it, all right? But first things first, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know if that's when I post, get up to date. All right, help your girls' dreams come true of becoming a full-time YouTuber. You recently just hit 1,000 subscribers, so we are on our way, all right? So first thing is first, we are giving video credit to the two videos we are reacting to, all right? First video is from Joshua Diren. Last name is spelled Dairen on TikTok. All right, that video is about a minute. All right, and then the overall video we will be looking at and reacting to is Evil History of Flooding Black Towns by Black Culture Unlocked on YouTube. All right, I recently came across both of them, the TikToker and the YouTube channel, just really randomly. But yeah, I am so curious to get into it, so let's freaking do it, y'all. Seeing. Alright, sorry guys, I need to. Alright, make sure I got the video ready. Alright, and let's go.
Cities up under lakes across the country, especially in the southeast. Well, you can add Smith Lake to the list. Under the waters of this 22,000-acre lake is Falls City. This land was once home to a very famous geographical feature, and that was Clear Creek Falls. These nearly identical twin waterfalls were home to numerous gatherings for indigenous peoples over centuries. And because of their isolation, they weren't even found until 1812 by settlers. Eventually, Falls City was formed. However, the lack of access, a highway, or a railroad stunted the growth of this town. Despite that, it was still frequently traveled to because of Clear Creek Falls, until they were eventually swallowed up in 1961 by the Alabama Power Smith Lake Project. There's at least 4 cemeteries up under the water, as well as a post office. The water gets over 260 feet deep in some places, with trees that were there before the water still standing straight up. There is even a legend about a man in 2007 being found in his car completely preserved. Accidents frequently occur on this lake as well. And because of the circumstances of the way this lake was created, there's no telling what secrets are at the bottom. There are numerous...
All right, so wow. So basically, that's so crazy. That's so messed up. So basically, the town couldn't grow because there was like little to no roads to the town. But let it have been a different nationality's little town or city, they would have had roads and all kinds of things. Like, oh gosh, I cannot. This, it irks my soul. All right, so what do you guys think of that? It really sucks to think about because the twin waterfall thing sounds like that would be a crazy tourist attraction if the town was existing anymore. You know what I mean? Like that would have made it a tourist attraction. People would want to like just drive through just to get pictures. Like that is, oh y'all, that's crazy and messed up. I can't. I'm trying to save my energy drink for a few more videos. But yeah, so let's get into the second video. It is by Black Culture Unlocked on YouTube. I randomly came across their channel as well, so let's get into it.
Community where you could find refuge from discrimination and violence in the days when racism was at its peak. Such communities existed in the United States during segregation, and at least 200 of them were established by 1888. But as time passed, many of these communities disappeared from the map, completely erased from history. You may ask, how is that even possible? Why were these towns deliberately hidden and erased? And what can we learn from this dark and troubling part of American history? In this video, we will reveal some of the major black towns now hidden underwater or transformed into something
kind of making me nervous, I'm not gonna lie.
The first is the Seneca Village in New York City. Seneca Village, a once thriving African-American community, was established in 1825 on the outskirts of New York City at a time when African-American residents were facing legal segregation and discrimination throughout the country. At its height, the village covered an area from 82nd Street to 89th Street on Manhattan's Upper West Side, with approximately 300 black residents living within its borders. The people of Seneca Village had a deep sense of community and worked hard to build a prosperous and thriving neighborhood. Many black residents were property owners, with a rate 5 times higher than the city's average. Seneca Village had 3 churches, a school, and various small businesses, such as a grocery store, a shoemaker, and a blacksmith. However, the residents of Seneca Village faced many challenges, including discriminatory laws that restricted their freedoms and opportunities. As the city of New York began to expand and and urbanization took hold, many wealthy New Yorkers sought to improve the area by creating a large park, which is now known as Central Park. In 1855, the New York State Legislature passed the Act to lay out a public park in the city of New York, which authorized using...
Wait, so Central Park, the infamous Central Park, used to be a like black village, like a little black village inside of Manhattan. Like, really? Wow. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm gonna look at so many things different. Like, I already looked at a lot of things different, you know what I mean? But now I'm just like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like enjoy some of these places anymore. Like, when I go to New York, I love going to Central Park. I used to love it, but now knowing the history, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, it puts a damper on the enjoyment of the space and place. But I mean, it's the history, and we can't ignore it. We can't ignore it at all.
Eminent domain to seize land to create Central Park. The residents of Seneca Village were accused of being a public nuisance and were forced to leave their homes to make way for the
Wow.
construction. The community was disbanded by 1857, and the residents were forced to relocate somewhere else, mainly to Manhattan's Lower East Side. The erasure of Seneca Village is one of many examples of systemic racism and forced displacement of black communities throughout American history. The people of Seneca Village had built a thriving and prosperous community against all odds, only to be pushed aside by the government and the wealthy elite. The loss of Seneca Village was a traumatic event for the African-American residents who were forced to leave their homes and businesses behind. Today, the only remnant of Seneca Village is a commemorative plaque dedicated in 2001 to the Lost Village. The story of Seneca Village serves as a reminder of the...
So, the little inkling of this village came a like sign in 2001. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Like that, I can't.
Vibrant black communities lost due to discrimination and systemic racism in the United States. But while this seems traumatic, many African Americans in Alabama faced a more devastating incident. Before we get into that, we'd like to introduce a new segment called Black Business Spotlight. Part of our mission
little
is to uplift and
advertisement.
empower the
We love
culture,
that.
and a great way to do that is by supporting black-owned businesses. So today, we'd like to share with you a company that focuses on empowering the community through reading and education. DTR 360 Books.
Hey, what's going on, family? Assalamu alaikum. Shalom, shalom. And listen, DTR 360 Books is the fastest online bookstore right now. Alright? We
Okay.
have everything from comic books. Alright, we have everything from history books. That's right, we got this bad boy. We have everything like health books.
I'm gonna check this website out. I'm like, why not?
Listen, anything, you name it, we got. Alright, definitely. Listen, click the link in the bio, DTR360books.com. Find out what's all the hype about.
DTR 360 Books.
So let's rise, family. You can't go anywhere without proper education. Peace.
It's so
Facts.
important that we buy
Proper
black and keep the dollar
education,
in our
all
community.
right?
If you'd like to support DTR 360 Books, click the first link in the description. Now let's get back to the video. Wallajah in Alabama. Lake Martin is a beautiful destination in Alabama, famous for its crystal clear waters, boating activities, and stunning sunsets. However, the lake has a dark history that few people know.
One thing I will say about all these lakes, they are all beautiful and breathtaking, and the scenery is gorgeous, and it just sucks that to get that beautiful area, the like man-made lake and everything and the nature, black people had to suffer, literally, like be displaced. And just, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a rant. I'm sorry, I'm gonna rant.
Underneath the tranquil waters of Lake Martin lies the ruins of Kowalja, a once thriving African-American community.
Kowalja.
In the late 19th century, Kowalja was established by John Benson, a formerly enslaved person who had purchased thousands of acres of land in Alabama and sold it to other African-American families. The community grew and prospered with its black-owned railroad and was home to the Kowalja Academic and Industrial Institute. This school provided education and vocational training to African-American students. The school helped prepare generations of African-American students to succeed in a world often hostile to them. Unfortunately, Kowalja's success was short-lived. The rise of the Ku Klux Klan and a lack of economic opportunities for African Americans in the area led to the community's decline in the 1920s. By the 1950s, the once thriving community had all disappeared. In the 1960s, the Alabama Power Company purchased the entire land to build a hydroelectric dam, which led to the creation of Lake Martin. The loss of Kowalja was a devastating blow to Alabama's black community. It is just one of the many mind-boggling examples of how black communities in America were systematically destroyed and forgotten throughout history. Despite this erasure, efforts are being made to preserve the memory of Kowalja and honor its legacy. The Kowalja Historical Society was established to preserve and promote the history of Kowalja and its contributions to Alabama and the United States. The society has created a museum that showcases the community's rich history, including exhibits on John Benson and the Kowalja Academic and Industrial Institute. The society also organizes tours of the area and hosts events celebrating Kowalja's heritage. In addition to the work of the Kowalja Historical Society, other organizations are also working to preserve and honor the community's memory. The Alabama Historical Commission has designated Kowalja as a historical site, and the National Park Service has recognized the town's contributions to the civil rights movement. The legacy of Kowalja lives on through the efforts of those who seek to honor and remember the community and its contributions to Alabama and the United States. And this is not the only city underwater, as right below the serene water of Lake Lanier is a land that was once thriving with human activities.
I talk about Lake Lanier in another video.
Lake Lanier in Georgia is a popular destination for weekend getaways, attracting visitors with its abundant fishing, boating, and other recreational activities. The lake spans over 38,000 acres and has over 692 miles of shoreline. It is located in the northern part of Georgia and serves as a major source of water supply for the city of Atlanta. However, what many people don't know is that the lake has a dark past. It sits on top of the ruins of Oscarville, a thriving African-American community that was destroyed as far back as 1912. Oscarville was a small black community located in the northeastern part of Forsyth County, Georgia. The community was established in the late 1800s and was home to over 100 black families. The residents of Oscarville were hardworking farmers, carpenters, and other tradespeople who were able to establish a self-sufficient community despite the oppressive Jim Crow laws at the time. In September, 2 alleged assaults against white women were
I will say this, black people, no matter what we go through, it is one thing we are is motherfucking resourceful. All right. We will think outside the box. We will come up with something. We will figure it the fuck out. All right. That is one thing I will say that I love about black people. All right. We will figure it out. We will be resourceful. We will think outside the box. All right. We will make do with what we got. All right. And think about everything else later. All right. We are resourceful and resilient no matter what. Everyone keep that in mind.
in the county. 2 black men were arrested, along with 4 accomplices. Shortly after, the body of a white resident was found, and several black residents were named as suspects. To provide safety, 1 suspect was transferred, but a mob of angry white residents gathered outside the jail. They seized and beat another suspect to death before hanging him in the town square. After the trials and executions, a group of white men, known as Night Riders, began a campaign of terror against the black residents of Oscarville. They burned homes, churches, and schools, forcing black families to flee the area. More than 1,000 residents were displaced in the aftermath of the violence. The land where Oscarville once stood was eventually purchased by the Army Corps of Engineers, who built Lake Lanier on top of the remains of the destroyed community. The construction of the lake began in the 1950s and was completed in the 1960s. The lake is now a popular destination for recreation and serves as a major source of hydroelectric power for the region. Today, there are reports of eerie occurrences and ghost sightings around the lake, adding to its already haunting history. Many visitors to the lake have reported seeing strange lights, hearing ghostly voices, and feeling a sense of unease in certain areas. Some believe that the ghosts of the former residents of Oscarville are still present at the lake, haunting the place where their homes and communities once stood. The story of Oscarville and its destruction is a horrifying example of the violence and depression encountered in African American communities throughout American history. However, efforts are being made to preserve the memory of Oscarville and honor the lives of those who were lost. The Black Student Union at the University of North Georgia has created a scholarship in the memory of the victims of the Oscarville lynching, and there are ongoing efforts to uncover more
Alright, we love that. We love that.
In recent years, there has been a renewed interest in the history of Oscarville and other similar communities in the South. Organizations like the Georgia Trust for Historic Preservation have worked to document the history of black communities in Georgia and advocate for their preservation. The Forsyth County Historical Society has also taken steps to recognize memorize the history of Oscarville and other lost communities in the area. Despite the efforts to preserve the memory of Oscarville, the community's history remains largely unknown to the general public. Many visitors to Lake Lanier are unaware of the story beneath the water's surface, but it doesn't end here. Vanport in Oregon is another place now buried underwater. Vanport in Oregon.
Damn.
During World War II, the United States witnessed an unprecedented surge in its manufacturing and industrial.
Sorry, really quick, guys. Let me get this out. I do appreciate and I love that they are trying to keep some sort of memory and bring some sort of history to the black towns that were basically bought out by electric companies and forced to become man-made lakes. Let me just keep it real. All right. That's amazing, and it's so good that they're doing that. Like, kudos to them. That's freaking amazing.
Sector to support the war effort. This period saw the rapid growth of shipyard industries, which became vital in producing warships and military supplies. One of the shipyards was located in Vanport, Oregon, which quickly became the second largest city in the state. The shipyard industry offered job opportunities, and many people migrated to the city in search of work. As the demand for labor increased, African Americans from the southern states were drawn to the shipyard industry in search of better job opportunities. However, due to systemic racism, the Albina neighborhood was the only place where black people could legally reside. The Albina neighborhood soon became too small to accommodate the growing population, and a solution was needed to it.
Wait. So I still can't wrap my head around this. There were literal laws that black people could only live in certain areas. Literally. Like, oh my God. The history of our people will not go unheard. All right? Period.
Address the housing crisis. Vanport was built as a temporary solution to house these new workers. The city was built on a floodplain, and this decision would have devastating consequences. At its peak, Vanport housed 40,000 residents, with 40% of them African American. Unfortunately, in 1948, disaster struck the city when the Columbia River flooded the neighborhood. The floodwaters destroyed the town within a day, displacing over 18,000.
Destroyed a whole town within one day. Are you friggin' kidding me?
The aftermath of the flood exposed the systemic racism that existed in Oregon. White supremacists attempted to keep black Americans out of the state, and the state legislature passed laws to preserve the state predominantly white. The Oregon Black Exclusion Laws restricted black people from owning property or settling in the state, a practice that continued for several years. Even after the laws were repealed in 1956, the legacy of systemic racism lived on. The former residents of Vanport never forgot their lost community and fought for years to preserve its memory. The Vanport Mosaic Festival is held annually to honor the lives lost and celebrate the city's rich history. The festival showcases the city's diverse cultural heritage and aims to educate people about the history of Vanport. The festival features a variety of events, including live performances, exhibits, and oral histories from former residents. The legacy of Vanport still resonates with the residents of Portland today. The city has a troubled history of racism and segregation, with the African American population facing numerous obstacles, including access to education, housing, and job opportunities. However, in recent years, the city has progressed in addressing these issues. It has launched various initiatives to improve the quality of life for the African American community, including affordable housing, job training, and education programs. The Vanport Mosaic Festival is a testament to the resilience of the former residents.
I will say this, not that long ago, Oregon decriminalized so many drugs that it's not even safe to be out there. I think Portland is one of the areas that is full of addicts and people just on the street running amok doing drugs. Like, it's crazy to think about.
Vanport, who fought to preserve the memory of their lost community. While progress has been made in recent years to address the legacy of systemic racism in Portland, much work still needs to be done to achieve equality and justice for all. Next is Sasana, a former village in Alabama,
Sasana?
home to a large lake. But before we get into it, make sure you like this video.
Sasana.
To the channel for more
I
content
like that
this.
name.
Thank you for
That's a pretty name. That's cute.
Stories. We're changing lives and waking the culture up. Now let's get back into it. Sasana Village in Alabama. Sasana was one of the most prosperous and thriving small towns in Tallapoosa County, Alabama.
Tallapoosa County. Can't get more country than that, can it?
Post office, and even its own gold mine, situated on Blue Creek, between Curry's Point and Still Waters. Sasana was a beacon of hope for pioneers seeking a new life in the American South. But sadly, Sasana's bright future was not to be. In the early 20th century, the construction of Lake Martin resulted in the town submerging submergence underwater, the once vibrant streets and bustling
Jesus.
businesses were lost forever, leaving only memories and scattered remnants of the past. According to Alabama Living, the flooding of Susana resulted in the relocation of over 900 bodies from cemeteries in the area. This poignant fact underscores
Wow.
the depth of loss experienced by the people of Susana, who saw their homes and loved ones swept away by the rising waters. Despite its tragic fate, Susana's legacy lives on in the hearts and minds of Alabamians and history buffs alike. The town's former glory is evidenced by the wide range of businesses it once supported, including a gold mine, a school, 2 mercantile stores, a grist mill, a flour mill, a sawmill, a blacksmith shop, and a church. These varied enterprises served as a testament to the ingenuity and perseverance of the people of Susana.
Exactly.
Community from the ground up. And lastly, it is the once vibrant Ferguson town in South Carolina. Ferguson town in South Carolina. Ferguson, South Carolina, was once a thriving lumber town, founded in the 1880s by Francis Beadler and Benjamin F. Ferguson. The town was established to support the operations of the Santee River Cypress Lumber Company, which was responsible for harvesting old-growth timber from the Blackwater River wetlands in central South Carolina. The firm owned and controlled over 165,000 acres of land, mainly of bald cypress timber. The founders of the Santee River Cypress Lumber Company were both northern lumbermen from Chicago who saw an opportunity to capitalize on the rich timber resources of the South. They purchased large tracts of land and built a sawmill and a kiln to process the timber into finished products, such as railroad ties and lumber. Ferguson was constructed to house the workers operating the sawmill and other facilities.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to say this. Every time they say Ferguson, I automatically think of Ferguson in St. Louis. Well, in Missouri, Ferguson, Missouri, because St. Louis and Ferguson are 2 different cities. But I do apologize. I'm sorry. I just had to say that. Every time they say Ferguson, I automatically think of Ferguson, Missouri. Sorry.
To attract workers to the town, Beadler and Ferguson invested in the infrastructure of the new village. They built paved streets, provided indoor plumbing, and installed street lighting with coal gas. The company town system was used to exploit workers who were paid in an untransferable currency that could only be used at the company store. The town's workers and their families depended entirely on the company for their livelihoods, as their
Wait. Hold the phone. So this company printed its own money like the strip club, and they could only use the money at the... Wow, I can't. What the... Oh my god, I can't. Are you freaking kidding me? Sound off in the comments. What do you guys think? Like, this is freaking crazy.
were no other sources of employment in the area. Despite exploiting workers, the town of Ferguson thrived for several decades. The sawmills cut wood, and the kiln produced treated wood products, including creosote-infused railroad ties. The post office began operations in 1890, and the town had several businesses, including a bank, a hotel, and a general store. The town's residents had access to various services and amenities, such as a school, a church, and a library. However, the Santee Cypress Company shut down its Ferguson operations in 1915, which led to the town's decline. Workers were laid off, and the post office shut down in 1917. Ferguson became a ghost town, abandoned and forgotten. Over time, the buildings fell into disrepair and were eventually demolished. In the following years, the land that was once Ferguson was repurposed for various projects. The Santee Cooper Power and Navigation Project, which began in 1939, included the construction of the Santee Dam downstream from the Ferguson site. The lake's shallow waters covered most of the town's site, including its streets, buildings, and cemetery. Today, Ferguson is a submerged ghost town that lies beneath the surface of Lake Marion. Despite its disappearance, the legacy of Ferguson lives on. The lumber industry, which was once the town's lifeblood, is still an essential part of the economy of the South, and many companies continue to harvest timber from the region. The town's story is a reminder of the industry's impact on local communities and the importance of fair labor practices. The submerged town is also a unique site for divers and history buffs who can explore the underwater remains of the town. Lake Marion, which covers an area of about 110,000 acres, is a
Holy crap, 110,000 acres? Jeez.
Including largemouth, bass, catfish, and crappie. There are also several campgrounds, picnic areas, and hiking trails around the lake. The lake's proximity to several major cities in South Carolina makes it a popular weekend getaway destination. This video is crazy, but there's so much more history that they don't want you to learn about. The video on the screen is an interesting story.
You guys, I can't. It's like making me so mad is because they're like, oh, let's just kick the black people out of their town. Screw them. Really? When there were a bajillion other places y'all could have put these man-made lakes. Like, for real. It's freaking ridiculous and crazy. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Sound up in the comments. It is heartbreaking, and like I don't even think I'm gonna be able to enjoy these places anymore. Like I'm not gonna be able to enjoy Central Park anymore. I'm not going to be able to enjoy a lot of things anymore because like knowing the history, it's going to take away from that. But you know what? That's okay, because I'd rather be educated and know than be just living bliss and ignorant. You know what I mean? But thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you know if it has when I post. Possible giveaway coming at the end of August. Bye.